those lights
Uh,
there, you think that would make a difference?
Hello, everybody. This is Leah, Ryan, and Loft Manager Richard from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario. We're here, Pigeon Chat Live, talking everything and anything about
Hi, folks.
pigeons. There we go. Take it away, Ryan.
Man, special guest today. You loft manager Ricky, or you Relic from the Beachcombers. You're looking good today. That Pigeon Boss toque looks great on you. Pigeon Boss, look at the white hat, Leah. Look how good it looks even in the wintertime. And are you people not amazed at how clean I'm keeping this hat?
I'm actually shocked, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Tonight's going to be a kind of a. Is it a depressing show tonight or a real good show? I think it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. We're going to be talking about the dirty spot of pigeons, really. I mean, some of the viruses are pretty bad. We're going to talk about that. Band race. Bands are selling good. We're going to talk about that a little bit at the end. Feathers
And
Elite Pigeon.
yeah, and whatever anybody wants to talk about. If you
Yeah.
guys have a question about anything regarding pigeons, pigeon racing, pigeon keeping, pigeon anything regarding pigeons, post it in the comments below, and Ryan and Richard will do their best to answer. Got any comments, anything? This is just we've now turned this into a pigeon chat show where we just talk pigeons in general. So, if you
That's
got
right.
questions, put them in the comments. As Ryan said, we are talking today about some health, some viruses that pigeons can get. We're going to be showing some photos that some of them are a bit of a graphic nature. So if you're squeamish or you're watching this while you're eating your dinner, I'm just going to warn you guys now. There are a couple photos that can be a little bit disturbing, but we think it's important to show these photos so we can give you examples of what to look for. While we discuss health issues in this broadcast, we want to remind everybody that we are not veterinarians. Ryan's not, Richard's not, I'm not. But Ryan and Richard are just going from their experience. Richard has had 60 years of experience. Ryan has had 38 years of experience. And we're just going by, we're just sharing stories of what they have seen and advice on how to treat certain things. But we are by no means veterinarians. So
Yeah.
don't
And I will.
don't come for us.
And I will say here in North America, people that have had pigeons over 20 years, 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years, like Ricky, 50 years or more, you become your own vet, sort of. You're diagnosing things yourself. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. A lot of the time we learn the hard way. It's not like in Europe where we have official pigeon vets. There is nowhere here in Canada where there is what I would call a real pigeon vet. Nowhere close. Sorry about that, veterinarians, but I can understand why. There's just the business isn't there for it. So we use things. We use books. We use knowledge from other flyers, things like that, to get through these problems. And I always find it quite humorous when pigeon men talk. Oh, my pigeons are perfect. I never have a sick pigeon. I don't have a feather out of place. Everything's perfect. A-okay. No problems. Come on. Let's be honest here, right? It's okay. But people are very afraid. It's a very taboo thing. Oh, I got a bit of canker. Oh, I got a bit of respiratory. This, that, this. People are afraid. Oh, I got paratyphoid. Oh, I got salmonella. Oh, I got E. coli. Oh, I got this, that, this. Streptococcus. I'm afraid. Shh, don't tell nobody. They'll think you're a bad guy. I think you. No, that's wrong. Come out. It's okay. It's okay. We all work together. We're a pigeon family. And you know what? For you guys that haven't had some of these sicknesses and you're laughing at me or Ricky, because maybe you've had it. Oh, they got dirty lofts. They got this. Ha, ha, ha. When you get it with your clean loft, it'll wipe you right out. And when it wipes you out, it's a real good feeling because you know what? It humbles you quick, doesn't it, Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to
Yes,
give everybody a
100%.
shout out who has tuned in. We got a whole bunch of people tuned in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Neil has a question. I just want to give my shout outs here. Make sure I post everybody who has said hello up on the board. Hello, everybody. Neil Gonzalez, before we get into health, has a question. He said that he has weaned babies around 30 days old and they're feeding other babies. He said, I have seen this a few times. What do you make of it?
I wonder if they're really feeding them, or they just the younger ones are just running over, and the other ones are putting their beak to them. I don't know if they're really. I don't know if they're really feeding them.
Okay, so he's got young ones. They're 30 days old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're just under 5 weeks old.
By now they're
Right,
starting to
okay.
eat good.
Let me finish. Oh yeah, they should be already in the field.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
And you have those young ones in with
Other youngsters.
youngsters that you've weaned into that section.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think that's what he's
and
saying.
they're feeding other young ones. I seen that if you leave young ones in the nest too long, they'll
Raise your voice.
The older young ones,
Yeah.
the young ones that are, well, I've seen it. They'll get on when the hen is getting off the nest. The young one, if it's about 35 days old, it'll go and sit on the eggs. I've seen that before.
Yeah, I wonder if they're really feeding it now. You would know.
Maybe the older ones are mimicking the parents, or yeah.
Well, you know, I know the little reddish one, little owl we have. He's eating on his own, and still, if we take your fingers and you mimic a beak in front of his mouth, he'll come right up to you and he'll want you to feed him. He'll say, "Hey, come on, give me the feed."
So it's like those young ones. Are they still in?
He's got them youngsters. He's got them at 30 days, and maybe he's put birds in there that are at 20 days or 25 days. So they're kind of acting a little bit like, whoa, who's feeding me? Who's feeding me? We normally don't mix them like that. We'll wean them in a basket, let that little group learn how to eat. They're eating, they're drinking good. Then you can move them out into the section. Then everyone's already knowing how to eat.
I mean, Mike Vandriak said that he had one that did it last year. It was the first time he had ever seen it. I don't think it's anything to be worried about. Would you? I mean, how is it hurting them? I
don't know if they're really feeding or if the babies are just looking like they're feeding, but I don't know if they're really regurgitating. I've never seen babies feed babies.
I've seen if you leave young ones too long in your section where you're breeding.
Right.
And I've seen older young ones are old.
Right.
They're probably that age.
Right.
And they'll hen's feeding her young ones, and they'll be right in that box trying to steal the feed.
Yeah. But you have never seen it yourself.
I've never seen
babies feed babies.
Older young ones feeding younger young ones. I've never seen it.
I think Neil, if you really look, they'll be coming up to those babies, coming to their beak, and those babies will be looking like it, but I don't think you're going to be seeing them doing that regurgitating, that hardcore feeding. Maybe you have, hey.
No, I think he says he has.
Well, get it. You know what? They're going to do it tomorrow, eh? History repeats itself. Get your camera, get a video. Let's see it.
We have a comment from Korean O'Connor Pigeons, and he says, "Hey all, Ryan is correct. Both young birds think they are being fed. Neither young bird is feeding the other. You will notice the younger bird's head is always below the older young bird's head." So there you go. Yeah. Thank you very much for chiming in. I figured they were probably just mimicking either the parents or
And again, as you see my fingers, if you play with the baby's beaks there on the floor, Neil, you get in there and they're doing a lot of squeaking. They're going, "Give me the feed, give me the feed." And you put your fingers up to them. They'll come up to you like your fingers are going to feed them, but you can't regurgitate no feed. And I think that's just what they're doing. I almost look at it as almost a weakness there. A little bit, just a little bit. Let's see the ones, how many of them are doing it that you've just weaned, and how many of those ones that you've just weaned are in there eating with the other ones and not screaming around going, "I need feed, I need feed." I want to see them use their brain.
I like to wean those young ones, like I said. And I like to keep them about 2 weeks in a basket before I put them into that section.
Right.
And, and that way they're they're well on their way.
They know how to eat and drink on their own.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
so
right.
They don't depend on anyone, really.
So Neil says it's interesting in any event. I'm sure, yeah, it is
Yeah.
interesting to see. But he says, what a difference weaning babies young. They love their master. So I'm not sure maybe if this is the first time that Neil has tried this method of weaning them perhaps a little earlier than what he normally would. But I'm wondering if that's the case. Do you find, Neil, that you're liking it better? You're liking how the youngsters are progressing at a quicker rate? Are you feeling that you're having more of a bond with them because you've taken them away perhaps a little earlier than before? So let us know below how you're finding weaning them a little bit younger.
Excellent. That's a
Yeah,
good job.
like we talked about weaning early, and if they're about 2 weeks in a basket, I don't put any more than 6 to 8 in a basket. And by the time those 2 weeks are over with, those young ones, they don't care about parents. They don't care about anything. All they know is I feed them.
Yeah. And another.
And they get so intelligent. Well, now, once they get drinking and eating, I don't even leave the water container in because they think it's bath time.
They want to have a bath
through the little hole.
Mm-hmm.
So then they'll actually look at me for water, and I'll put the water container in.
Another super tip. These are leaving stones unturned, turning stones over at a very young age. When you wean those youngsters into a basket, yeah, it's a bit of work for you. It is. Keep the bedding clean, feed them, water them, watch them, feed and water, watch them. You do it for, 8 to 10 days, 14 days, whatever you feel.
I like 2 weeks.
You like 2 weeks, okay? But we're just saying, okay, hold on. The great part is, when you take your birds to the club, your young birds to the club, if you don't have your baskets overloaded, right? You have your baskets comfortable. You drive in the car, it's warm out. You can drop that torpedo drinker in. What do your birds already know? They know where the water is. Bang, they have a drink. Another thing, when you're going to go down that road to take them out and exercise them, the first time in the basket, your babies aren't all squirrely in the head. Calm, cool. Why? You did the homework 4 months ago, didn't you?
My young ones are basket training right now.
So you know what? You've already basket trained them.
Super.
I think good tips.
Neil says that he's has experienced definitely more of a bond weaning them at a younger age, and he also said, which I think is a fantastic point, that he's also in the loft spending more time with them. And Dad, I think you had said that, right? Because they get to know you and you get to know them, and you're able to pick up more things about the birds, maybe if one may be having a health issue or whatever, because you're keeping your eyes on them more, right?
Yeah, handle them.
Yeah, you're watching them. You're becoming a little bit more responsible. You're making sure you're focused on them, and you're picking up things. And Neil, you're picking up something there. The one that's screaming for the feed, is one screaming? How many did you wean? Figure it all out. Say, well, you know what? That one that's hollering for the feed, hey, he's going to pick it up. But you keep that in the back of your mind. Maybe you have a little notepad. Bird 1642, little extra squeaking, whining. See how that fares out at the end of the year. Maybe, you know what? It's a sign. The birds do that. Remove them. I don't know.
Again, like I said, I take these young ones here, and twice a day.
Yep.
Again, going back to that cat food. You guys are going to get sick of this, but I handle them. I put them on the basket. I put them on that pad there. Right. They're on the basket, and I'm giving them.
You're giving
three pieces each.
Yep.
In the morning and then in the afternoon, and I see how they're acting, and
he just likes to do it.
Yeah.
It's
good.
It's good.
There's a bond there.
It's a bond. That's right.
Somebody just did a crying face. Who's upset? Somebody's crying today. I know it's Monday. We're going to get through it together. Don't worry.
Bloody Monday.
Well, pigeons know. Know their owners, and they know the time. Funny story was they did a study in some park somewhere.
Yeah.
And there was like hundreds of pigeons in that park, and they had different people. This is like a study they did, government study, whatever. People would walk to that spot where this one fella would come and feed the birds.
Yeah.
And they'd walk to that spot, no pigeons. Another guy would walk to the spot, no pigeons. This guy that was doing it every day at a certain time with a certain clothing that he was wearing every day, walked to that spot, 100 pigeons all of a sudden land. So what we're saying is that bond, weaning in the basket, handling, feeding, whatever you're going to give them,
right?
They get that bond, right?
That's right. You're building all those little inches and all those little bricks right from the start. Remember, you don't wean them, put them in the section, let them out, and say, "I'm going to show up 4 weeks before the first race and start working these birds." It doesn't work like this. It's your team. It's 365 days a year to get that team to work to the max of their potential, their abilities.
I find the person that's going to do this, the loft manager, he should be the one that does it. And try and keep the same clothing on all the time. Like when you go in.
Right.
Do the same mannerism. If you tell them hello, let them know you're coming in.
Yeah.
What else? Keep the same clothing on.
Try and keep your clothing the same. Keep
Try
the
and keep the
mannerisms
routine.
again. You know, and another thing is, if it's a husband and wife team, make sure you guys go in there a lot of the time together. Keep it, get them used to each other. The kids want to be a part of it. Get the kids in there. You don't bring them in once in a blue moon because it startles the birds a little bit. The birds don't like it. Pigeons know what they like. Keep it the same. Try and keep it as much the same.
Now, are you talking just in the breeding season and weaning, or all the time?
All the time. All the time. All the time. I don't go into our own lofts very much. I go very rarely. We're too busy, right?
I don't like you to go in there.
Yeah,
I can tell when I go back. It's almost like
they know a stranger.
Hat went in or something. Yeah.
They know a stranger. It's not that I'm a bad guy. I just don't go in there. If I start going in there every day, right, within a month, the birds are calm again. Everything's good. There's no problems. So, try and keep things the same. If your kids are going to come in, bring your kids in all the time. Get them used to it, or your wife, get used to it. Same thing. Don't be bringing people in all the time, different time. I don't think it's good. But that's just me.
No, try and keep one person going.
Van Zoren is in the house. Nice to see you, Alfred. Alfred says all the time. So I don't know if he means that all the time. Oh, he says all the time. That he keeps it the same all the time. That's right. Okay.
All the time. That's right. I know being there at Alfred's, his dad was in the loft. He was in the loft. His two kids were in the loft. The pigeons were not worried at all. You could see the birds were relaxed. But they are practicing it every day. Every day they all work together as a little team. You go to the stable loft, Eugene Stable and Sons. Huge, his father and mother. They're all in the loft all the time. They're on a schedule. Keep it the same. Before a big race, before any racing, don't bring in somebody to show them those birds that you're going to the race with. Leave that alone. Take them somewhere else. Don't bring them into the loft. You take the form, you take the confidence, you take everything right out of those birds. Keep it the same.
Good point.
That's right.
Okay.
Try it.
What do we want to talk about first?
Jeez. We got lots of things. We did some photos. We took some photos. A book that was pretty good. Well, here, you talk about the book you got when you were just a kid for a minute.
Yeah, right.
That's a real good book. I seen it in
book. Yeah.
Show the.
I got this. We got it.
You all right?
I got that when I was about 8 years old.
He got this book when he was 8 years old. I seen them at the shows there, at the pigeon shows there in Belgium and in Holland. They had the Pigeon. Boy, it's quite an old book. Nice book. Look how nice and thick it is.
Well, you can read in the front. I think that book was produced in 1945 or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a beautiful book. 1963.
Was it?
Yeah.
Published.
Oh, copyright 1941.
Okay, there you go.
Old book.
1941.
How many things has this book bailed us out of? Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Or you learned quite a bit out of this book. I was in the Fugari show, the Houghton show, and I didn't grab it. There was multiple books like this, these exact ones in red and in this color, and I went back to get them, and they were gone.
I got this book in 1960.
1960. You
That's
kept it
when I got
in
this
good
book.
shape. And for Christmas, was it this year, Leah, or last year?
Last year.
Last year. Oh, yeah, it was a last year Christmas thing. We got this book, and I think this book is a real good read. Lots of insight. What I really like about this book is the photos. So you can sort of see what you can understand it more.
And I actually think that book,
Mm-hmm.
it blows this book away.
Well, it has to.
There's so much
More.
There's like some sicknesses in this book
Yeah,
that we never had back then,
that's right.
right?
Yeah,
Dan Gregorek says the Rotundo book was a beauty also.
Yeah, it was. I think I had it. It was a red cover book. I can't find where it is. That was also another good book. Good job, Dan. Hi.
So we're showing these books because we think if you're going to get serious into pigeon keeping, it's always good to have some resources. And I mean, yes, the internet is great. And I guess a lot of people use the internet now. But we do highly recommend those two books. It's just basically an encyclopedia, right, of every health issue. I mean, anything and everything to do with pigeons.
Yeah, and what's great is you can read all about it. You can see what other sicknesses climb onto sicknesses or viruses. They show you pictures, a lot of good pictures, which helps you out so you're sort of understanding what you're reading. And we showed some of this today as well. We've got some photos. We're talking about, salmonella, paramyxovirus, herpes virus, the adenovirus. They're all in this book, which makes it interesting. You can sort of see the battles you're dealing with. I know on our last show, Ian Sybil, he was asking about the herpes virus, and we've got some photos, which Leah we can start getting into there.
So I'm going to start to show some photos, and again, if you guys are squeamish, the photos are coming now, so be prepared, hide your eyes. But before I get to the photos, I just wanted to get back because Alfred had made a good point about keeping people out of the loft, and he says in the racing season, no one is allowed into the lofts except his kids, his dad, and himself. And the same applies for breeding. And in case you guys don't know, Alfred Van Zoren is a top flyer in Holland. He is a national winner. He knows what he's talking about, folks. So he says it as well. He keeps everything the same, doesn't disturb them at all.
He's 100% right.
100%.
Keep everything on a routine, the same. I was going to say something before you show the pictures of what's going on here. Before we get to this point, people, let's keep, apple cider vinegar in the water. Let's keep grit minerals to your birds. Certain things, let's keep. Try not to introduce too many other pigeons into your loft.
Yeah.
Keep
your vaccines up. Again, keep the good gut bacteria if you want to use the apple cider vinegar. You want to use things, keep the gut bacteria up. Keep the birds healthy.
The young ones are you wean them as early as we do. Once they get on their way, give them the vaccine. A couple weeks later, give them another vaccine. And
you have to remember too, with all of this, a big part of these, I think, these viruses climbing on, is to do with stress.
100%.
The birds aren't 100% healthy. Stress. All of a sudden now, the devil's come in. And he comes in many different forms. And you know what? They get a little bit of this. And then the other things, the canker, the coccidiosis, the respiratory, it all climbs in. And you see it in these books. Basically, a lot of it's very hard to cure.
Once you got
it, you're in the slight danger zone.
Before we get to the photos, Neil is asking, do you worm the birds? And if you do, how often?
Worming. Once. Not a couple times in a year, maybe. Sometimes we'll worm them in the bath water.
The Rotundo in his book recommends every 21 days. Wow.
Wow. I don't know. Yeah, I've never wormed every 21 days. I mean, they say when you give them worming, you give it 10 days later, you give them worming again to stop the egg. So basically what you're almost saying is, I guess Rotundo would be saying, worm them every 10 days. A drop in the water or whatever. Yeah, I guess you could. I don't know.
I don't know if that's good.
I don't know. I don't know if I would worm them every. Hey, Alfred, you worm them every 21 days?
That seems like a
That's
lot, but what do I know?
A lot of worming.
All right. So we're gonna hopefully Alfred is still on, and if he is, he can answer that question. How often does he worm his birds? And we're going to get to some photos here. What's the first one you want me to show, Ryan?
I guess we can do the
herpes one,
the herpes and the
circle virus.
the circle virus. Do the circle virus with the lining in the mouth. I sent you a couple pictures of that one, Leah. There's multiple pictures.
And also herpes has lining in the mouth too.
Yeah.
So is that the one you want to see?
Yeah, that's a good one right there. And I sent you a little bit of what it says about it.
Yeah, I have to get to that first. Hold on. I can't be producer and information person at the same time. So why don't you talk a little bit about it while I get all of these banners up?
Well, you see in the mouth of that youngster there, you see the lining. It's not like a ball. It's not like a cheese ball. This is just, it lines the
cheese ball. You're talking about canker.
A canker cheese ball, yeah. That would be canker. But you see, this is lining the mouth. It's going down in lines
on either side of the tongue.
On either side. You may even see it on the roof, but you can see it there in that picture. That's your circle virus, and I believe
so the photo that we're looking at right here is circovirus ulcers in the mouth of a young racing pigeon. And I'll just read this little blurb here, as Ryan it's in the book there, that I'm gonna read it out. Circovirus. When pigeons are infected with circovirus, viral erosions develop in the lining of the mouth. These quickly become covered with yellow-white plaques of inflammatory debris containing a mixed population of bacteria and sometimes canker organisms that have become secondarily involved.
Excellent.
Right. Yeah. Now, that's why I said there before, when my young ones wean them, I like to give them at least once a week a drop for canker. If you keep the canker levels down,
yeah,
and that product that we use,
that yellow drops works real good on the canker.
Yellow drops. But if you let the canker get onto them with this, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, they can amalgamate. There, I sent you, Leah. There was another picture also. It was like a 3-picture in one, and it's with the bird again opening up. You can see it all there, and wow, it's pretty graphic.
Okay, so I'll get to that in a second. I just want to get to the comments. With regards to the worming, Dan Gregoric says, the wormers now is not like the peprazine. The wormer now is very effective, and you don't need to worm more than 2 times a year. And Alfred says, stress makes the youngsters sick. So what they do is they put them in their baskets, and they put them in a special cart to drink food, and then they drive around with them so that they get used to the conditions that affect the transport of the pigeons. And he says he thinks that is most important, peace of mind and regularity. So
he's 100% right.
And you guys agree 100% with that, right?
We will be honest with you. When we have the young birds,
we're singing the same song.
We're singing the same song. And to go on Alfred's point here, the young birds that Richard will have basketed, they will be 20 days old, or they've been in the basket for about a week. I'll see him put them in the car. I'm not joking. He'll go to do the groceries. He'll take them with them in the car, bring them back, then give them the food, give them the water. Simulating the movement of the car, simulating just thinking and moving and in the basket, hit the brakes, off the brakes, getting them used to it. Alfred, excellent. That's right on. I think it's smart to help them get used to dealing with all types of stress, because stress, once the stress gets on, the sicknesses climb on them as well.
And it's like people as well. When you get down, if you're overworked or you're overtired or you're not feeling well or you're not eating properly, and you do that for a few weeks in a row, the next thing you know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, you get a cold or you get the flu or right? So it's the same with people. People are the same way.
Well, yeah, you look at kids even in kindergarten and grade 1 and 2. How many? Once one kid gets chicken pox, the whole class gets chicken pox. The kids start getting sick when they start going back to school. Why? Stress is what does it.
Um, Guido says animals are all about routine, creatures of habit. You make changes, you create stress. 150%. I agree completely, and I'm sure the guys do as well. Dave Crozier says 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Try to maintain the health. Yeah, 150%. I agree.
That's right.
And Mike Vanderyak says pigeons have 1 million years of evolution to stay healthy. They are amazingly robust if we don't go in with a bunch of drugs messing with their natural immunity. A sick bird should be a rare exception. The average member should never see sickness.
I believe what he's saying. I think what he's saying is every loft has its own immunity, and keep that immunity in. And, I mean, we're going back to the dry litter thing. That's immunity in the loft, and
Yeah, people say they're going to make their birds tougher, and I'll throw them in a section to keep them, put them on dry litter. This is going to toughen them up. If it's their own dry litter out of their own loft, you want to know what you're doing? You're not doing nothing. They're immune. But you know what? Go over to your neighbors who scrapes the floor every day. Grab one of those birds and throw it in your dry litter. Now let's see who's tough.
well, he'll be about 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
that's right.
He'll get
Dry litter doesn't kill pigeons. It doesn't. It's an immunity.
No, and Mike was right. Pigeon's been around for thousands of years. I seen a write up on this, a story documentary thing, and the world is created in 4 quarters of evolution.
Okay.
Pigeons have been around, I think, 3 or 4 quarters, and each quarter is like, I don't even know, 20.
Before humans.
Yeah, like before humans. And pigeons been here, and like what Mike says. But I don't know, because man has taken the birds and we've mixed things up. It's like we got this COVID sickness now. We never had that 50 years ago. So why?
I don't know.
I'm just going to get to the comments here. Chris Withers says that he agrees with Derek Walsh with keeping things simple. Health, fitness, and motivation. And also he thinks prevention is better than the cure. And we agree 100% with that as well. And then Guido says, Mike, that would be the case if you keep them at home and not expose them to any other bird. And then Mike Vanderyak says, one-loft races are a different thing, but I think they overdo it with the medications too. So, all right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
I like to.
Ryan, you
I like
run
to
a
say,
one-loft, and do you think that last season you over-medicated the entrance? Or how do you approach it?
You know what?
It?
You try, you medicate, you look, you see, and then the worst part about it is you look, and you know what? You have to play God. There's a point where you have to look and say, this one's got to come out, this one's got to come out. But remember, when they're all in that loft and you've put them all in there together and they're all drinking out of the same drinker and they're all eating and they're doing it, and you start to see them go off, the devil's basically, he's arrived. And now it's going to be a bit of time. And I think it's better, personally, to play God faster than to try and play let's fix. And again, saying like this year, I'm not going to be playing the fix. We'll get them on something. Birds start to look sideways. They're going to be pulled out and they're gone. Because that devil gets in and it has to run the course. It has to run the whole thing.
But I think we're going to say,
yeah,
don't treat yourself for a cold when you don't have it.
Right.
Some guys go, okay, well, I'm going to treat them for this. All the birds look good. Well, if they don't have respiratory problems, why are you treating them for respiratory? If they, we know canker levels are 100% in the bird.
Right.
So we try and keep that down. Okay. We try and make it so that the birds have enough air.
Right.
We try and make it so we don't overcrowd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are kind of, you overcrowd, you get respiratory. You overcrowd, you get other issues.
Yeah.
Right.
We know that. Well, and that's the whole thing. But and I'm talking with Derek Walsh. I'm going to go back to Derek when he said about keeping your birds healthy. The first thing the man said wasn't go out and buy the best canker, coxy, respiratory tonics you can get. Make sure your loft is right. It's breathing right. That's going to help keep your birds naturally healthy, keeping the drugs out of the birds. That's a small thing. But you don't think building your loft correctly is a big health product. It's a super health product. It's super. It's one of the best.
Now,
Build the
I
loft
know,
right.
there's lots of comments. So, but I know
Uh-oh.
that Neil had requested a couple weeks ago that we do an entire show dedicated to loft building. And once we get into building the old bird loft for the Pioneer, we're going to dedicate shows. We're going to show you guys updates to the loft building. We're going to get into that when we get to that stage. So don't worry, Neil. I haven't forgotten. We will do that. I wanted to get to some of the comments because there's some great comments. Guido says, PMV Adeno Circo. Oh, the damn comments keep jumping. Hold on. PMV Adeno Circo or any virus, as a matter of fact, no immunity unless to vaccinate, and some do not have a vaccine. So we know that does Circo have a, because we know PMV is PMV vaccine. We know there's PMV Adeno vaccine. Is there Circo, a vaccine for Circo? I don't know.
I don't know, but it looks like even in this book that the herpes and the Circo, they look to be a lot alike, and it seems that they are together. It's almost like when you sort of got one, you've got two. There is a herpes vaccine, I know. I don't know. You got to let it run its course, and that's why we say I say to people that are entering one-off races or sending their birds out, they're spending the money to enter the races. Please take the time to stress your babies out. Teach them about stress. Teach them to eat and drink in baskets. Push them to their limits at your loft. Get some age on them. Vaccinate them. Look for the ones that are weak. Pull those ones out. Or, do your homework. I love people that bring youngsters. They say to me, they bring them right out of the nest. There you go. Take them. Wow, you just put that baby from going the hill about this high, you put it to this high real fast.
Yeah, but I've also seen people that bring youngsters when they're 2-3 months old. They can loft fly.
Yeah.
And the things can't even drink out of a basket. They can't figure it out. They're absolutely stupid because the owner has done nothing with it.
Didn't teach them to succeed.
That's right.
Right. And the other way, we will talk about it. I will talk about it again. We had people last year rip a gentleman who put some birds in our race. He had them out loft flying. He sent us the birds. The birds could eat and drink in the basket. I had guys saying, oh, as soon as those birds go out, they're going to be gone. No, the birds succeeded. Why? Because the man put the time into those birds. And you know what? The birds had the shit between their ears. He didn't lose them.
I also seen a situation where somebody sent birds, and Ryan went and picked them up at the airport. And he said to me, we didn't. It was a wooden top on it. He said, how many birds you think should be in this basket? I said, there should be about. This man spent money on feed, probably vaccine, and all the rest of it. But he sent his birds out to a one-loft race. I said, well, there should be, I would say, about 10 in that basket.
And remember, this was a basket about this wide.
That long.
Yeah, that long, and it had a complete plywood lid on it. It had about 6 holes along the side. Right. And the holes were no wider than your thumb. Stick your thumb right in, that round.
And the holes in the basket were down below half the basket.
In the middle of the basket. Not at the top, right in the middle.
So anyways, he took the screwdriver and he took the top off.
The plywood, solid plywood top.
It was like a steam bath. Just soaked. There was 20 birds in there. 10 were stone dead. Yep. And 10 were alive. Yep. So I mean, we got to think a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
When you do something. I mean, don't overcrowd the basket. Put some holes on top because heat goes up.
What I like to say is, you've all traveled. Most of you have never traveled first class, but we all look at first class and go, boy, wouldn't you love to sit in that big cushy chair with the recliner and the food, and it's great. It is. When you ship your pigeons, ship them in first class. Give them extra room. Give them the room. Put them on the right bedding. Give them enough air. Give them too much air. More air, the better. Don't cook them out. Because what's going to happen, the money you're spending goes down the toilet. Those 10 birds that were left, they never did nothing with us. Because why?
They cooked.
He cooked them. Those ones there, another 2 hours.
We said to the fella, this is what happened. And he said they were good when I put them in the box.
Yes.
Well, sure they were good.
They were good. Everything's good when you first put them in, isn't it?
Until you start cooking.
We do have a video on our YouTube channel about successfully shipping your pigeons successfully and how to do it. But we will readdress that again when it comes time for people to send birds to one loft races. We'll talk about that again, but there is a video on our YouTube channel that does show how to successfully ship birds.
Yeah,
okay,
so we're just getting back to
I want to get back to the comments.
Taking good care for them.
That's right. And getting back to the medicating and over-medicating, Alfred says the diseases are getting worse because many enthusiasts just throw the medicine in. If you don't have a headache, you don't take an aspirin. They think they can fly better by giving a lot of drugs, and he said that that's the cause of many illnesses. And I think you guys would agree with that, right?
Right. You start to weaken. You start to weaken. You know, I see people, they come, even looking at auction birds. They'll buy an auction bird. The bird's beautiful, white, chalky wattle, the mouth's clean. The bird looks like $1 million. Cock bird's cooing in the show cage. What does the guy do? Give me some canker pills. Give me this, give me that. You think this bird's going to be okay? You think this? They're not looking. Look at the birds. Look at the health. You can see it. You see if the feathers are ruffled, if the nose is dirty. You see certain things. Look inside the mouth. But some people, the first thing they want to do, everything has got to be medicated. And you know what? You're taking everything good in them and you're lowering it.
Ian Sybil says that last season, there was something going on. Many people had big issues, whether they admit it or not. It wasn't just the one loft races, and it was before any races had started, and that's 100% right. And I think there's some kind of stigma that goes around, like, oh my, if you have a sick bird, don't, like Ryan said at the beginning of the show, don't tell anybody, or, don't, oh God, we can't let anybody know. You know what? Sickness happens. It's not, it's not to point fingers and let's point blame. But if we all shared our experiences with each other, then maybe we'd be a little more prepared to how to go about and combat it. There was something weird going on last year, 100%, Ryan, right? But yet nobody admitted to it, that they had it in their own loss.
Well, and listen to this story. I know someone last year, his first round of young ones, he had about 40 young ones. They got to a certain age, and they all just withered away, just died.
Fell apart in 2 weeks.
And died. Out of that group, he had only about 5 left, he said. He didn't change a thing. He didn't medicate. He went, oh, this looks, His next round, every single young one was perfect.
He never had another problem.
No, not another problem. They were strong, but just like beautiful.
Beautiful.
So,
and he won some combine races. He's always at the top, but but he wasn't afraid to say it. And that's the whole thing. You can't be afraid. I know pigeon guys don't like to do it. I know I've seen one loft races. One loft racing is the worst because you're on an island by yourself, and you don't want to say nothing. And that, I think, as an owner of a one loft race, that's the worst.
Scary.
Give the people the truth. And don't be afraid to eliminate because you have to. And I always say, we gave birds to Ian Sybil. We gave birds to Ricky Fife. If you have a problem with our birds, if there's an issue, no hard feeling, get rid of them, move them out. It's no problems, no hard feelings. So if you're giving birds to guys too as well, don't think they killed your birds because it's a jealousy thing. You know what? Just do the best with the birds. If there's a problem, eliminate.
Dan Gregoric wants to know, Ryan, do you give some products for boosting their immunity?
Yeah, we give the probiotics. I mean, we do the vaccines, the booster shots, and we're giving them all the vitamins, the minerals, everything that we need. But we're not just everything
Ideal,
in reason.
I mean, Ideal Pills is something that you
Yeah,
give. You do
the
give
ideal pills, yeah.
the probiotics.
Right, the probiotics, the vitamins, the sulfur, the grits, the minerals, the Versalog all in one, and you try and give as much as you can give. But at the end of the day, too, we have to remember the good pigeons will figure out a way to get to the end. They figure out that way. They have the immunities. Not all pigeons have it. They don't have all those tools. And we're talking racing pigeons, a super racing pigeon, you have to find those ways to get there. They have to do it a bit on their own as well. It's a must.
Okay, before I get to the rest of the
They never get
comments,
sick.
before I get to the rest of the comments, I've had this graphic photo up for the last 15 minutes. Sorry, guys, if you're eating your dinner.
Okay.
But I've got this photo up here, Ryan, that you wanted me to show with the three.
Yeah, look at that one there. And this was, that's
Yeah,
it right there.
yeah, people have been looking at it for about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to let everybody know what it is they're looking at. Again, this is a young racing pigeon with the circovirus infection, with the oral viral ulcers covered by yellow discharge found in many birds with this infection. This bird also had a secondary canker infection. So that's what you're seeing there in that nasty photo, which I'm now going to switch because I'm kind of tired of looking at it. Which one do you want me to put up now, Ryan?
Well, I'll tell you with this here, I've seen this before, how it lines. And if you take your thumb or finger and you scrape it off and you smell it, it's the most foulest smelling, mucusy. It can turn your stomach real easy. I hope nobody gets this, but that's what it looks like. Keep your eyes peeled. That is not canker. So if you have that, it's not canker, but canker will climb onto that.
Well, because
So,
it looks
we're
similar,
just
like
showing you.
it kind of looks similar to canker on first
Right.
sight because of the yellow and the
Right.
discharge, but it's not.
Right, but that's just lining. And you see where they split the bird open there in that third corner photo. You see it there. Now there's another photo, Lee, I sent you of a wing, just the wing, and the circle virus is on the wing. The herpes is on the wing of the bird. The feathers.
The feathers. So I think it's this one, maybe. I don't know. Is it that one?
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it right there. And there's a little reading there, but you see it's growing on the quills. It's coming out of the quills of the feather.
So yeah,
You see
this
that as
is
well.
circovirus infection of the feather follicles, leading to abnormal feather production. Interesting.
Yeah.
So it can climb on in the feathers as well.
You can see it in a lot of different ways.
What's the next
but that's
one
what you're looking at.
You want me to put which is the next photo?
We can do some of the paratyphoid or the salmonella.
I can do this one here if you want. What are we looking at here, Ryan? This is the wing shot.
Yeah, that's the
yeah. I've got what's that there? Salmonella on the wing?
Yeah, there you see it right there. You see the bump. See the what would you say?
Right at the joint.
At the joint there, you see the bubble of the skin. It's
so
popping out of the.
This is a hen with a joint form of paratyphoid. The first joint in on the right wing is visibly swollen and red. Now, I know also I've got a foot photo here.
Yeah.
I'll show. And that foot photo, I believe, is another sign of it as well, no?
Yeah, it says right there. I can't see from there, but you can see how
I'm reading
the foot's.
Here. So yeah, this is the swelling of the ball of the foot due to salmonella infection. The swelling is causing the ring to become tight on the leg. So that's another symptom of it.
And we've seen that before. it'll cut the leg right off with that band.
Circulation.
The circulation. So
Wow.
I mean, deadly stuff. But these are things. Maybe you go in your loft. You're a new guy. You're a veteran. You look. You go. Why is this bird's foot swollen? Look at the band can't even move. There you go. There it is.
And usually, when you get that, there isn't any return.
There's no. Yeah.
When you got the
There's carriers.
the
There's
joints
shedders.
swell up,
All that stuff.
and they're usually done.
100%.
Now I'm
And
going to, I'll put this photo up and see if anybody can spot what the issue is with this pigeon here. You guys can
Well, I
probably
can spot it.
read it on the screen, but Ryan, what's the issue with this pigeon here in the photo?
Go ahead, Ricky. You wanted to talk about it.
Salmonella, right?
Yeah, you see the wings drooping. The wing closest to us is under. His joints all swollen.
And usually, if you see them and they try to fly, they look like they fly with a limp.
Or a broken wing.
And you might look at it and say, "Oh, he busted. He hurt his wing, or he did something to his wing," and it just drooped down.
And you'll feel in the shoulder of the wing, a lot of the time you feel the heat. A lot of heat there.
And then here's another one, another photo, and this poor little guy can't even get up anymore.
Paramyxo, I believe he's got.
Or
So
what do you
this,
call it? Head twisting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is paratyphoid, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I just wanted to make sure we were on. So there's the paratyphoid. The legs aren't working. That's a pretty heavy stage. But things to look for. So you got your salmonella, you got your paratyphoid. You see the bump come out, paratyphoid, the swelling of the feet. Leah, show the one with the head doing the twist.
The head doing the twist.
It goes
have
like
one.
this. Okay, well.
I don't have the head
Norm-
twisting, the one with the head twisting. I have something with a mouth wide open. I don't know what the heck that's all about, but
Once the head
let's see what
starts,
this is. What is this here, Ryan? We're looking
Well,
at.
that's the herpes. That's the herpes. The lesions are in the mouth. You can see it. They just split the bird open. But also, if you see birds, pigeons with the heads, they're trying to twist them over. They can't get their balance. Their heads are twisting, and they're.
I can normally spot it. If I'm feeding my birds, the pigeon must eat with his head straight. Eat. Soon you see the bird's head twist just a bit, the early stage,
Yeah,
a wee bit. He's got it.
he's got
Now
it.
there's different degrees where it gets worse and worse, and they flip right over. It's a vertigo. People can get that. They
Right.
lose their balance. Their coordination is just right off. They're done. I've had one time I had a bird that got it. It got a little bit of the head twisting, but when I let it out for a fly, it would like a helicopter crashing, would just go like this, bang, crash on the ground. Once you got that, you're finished.
And there, guys. If you're not sure what you're looking at, you see youngsters that look like that. There's troubles on them. You can see the feathers are loose. They look well, and even you can see in that photo. Look at the feet. Look at the dehydration in the feet.
Dehydration.
Yeah, and herpes virus. There it is. There, another way you can see it. But you have youngsters that look like that. You're in a bit of a pickle.
Herpes virus. Once you got it in there, and even if they get past it, they carry it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm
we
just
don't,
I'm gonna get to the comments here because we have quite a few of them. So let me get to them. Okay, Guido and Mike are having a conversation back and forth about show pigeons versus racing pigeons, and if show pigeons are a little more fragile, as we would say, fragile than racing pigeons, or vice versa. Now, Ryan, I mean, you guys have had both, fancy and racing, and I know, Ryan, you've taken care of a ton of imports of fancy and racing. What do you guys think? Do you think that fancy birds or show birds are more resilient or more fragile than the racing pigeon when it comes to health issues?
You want to go or you want me to? I'm a little
got
bit.
my opinion.
My opinion is fancy birds, they're spoon fed a lot of the time. They're babied. The word maybe candy-assed a little bit. I think if I was into fancy pigeons, any breed of fancy powders, Medinas, whatever it is. What would I do? I'd have utility birds, race birds in there. I'd be bringing birds in to mix with them to build my group. I don't care about anyone else's. My group of show birds up to the next level. I'd be trying it. I'd be working it. That would be how I would go at it. Another thing, I don't think the show guys do themselves much justice when I go to shows and they got them on whole showroom floor full of shavings. Boy, it looks good. Boy, it looks good. By the end of the day, get me the hell out of here. I got sawdust. I'm all clogged up in here.
You got your eyes
And then
clogged.
the guys come home from the show. A week later, all my birds died. What? What happened? Well, it was beautiful. They got the shavings in. We got birds next to each other. Everybody doesn't introduce birds. Everyone's afraid this way, that way. Now, I'm not picking on the show guys. I'm not a show guy. I would never be a show guy. I'm not interested in it. But when I go there and look, that's what I see. That's what I see.
Now you get your performance pigeons like tipplers, rollers,
Yeah.
some of those high flyers. Those birds are again like steel.
They are, because they're more of a working bird.
Yeah.
And in importing pigeons, I never have any problems in imports with tipplers, rollers,
High flyers, different types.
clappers, nothing like that. But when you get into let's take I got all those one time, the birds with all the frills on them. Oh my God. It was worse than running a one-loft race. They had nothing. They had no build up. If you're a show guy, I want you to start taking your birds to the grocery store in the car, taking them down the road, pushing them. You're going to lose some birds. You're going to lose some. But guess what? Build the stress levels in them so they succeed. But that's just me.
Speaking of that, Chris Withers, sorry it's taken me a while to get to your comments, folks. Chris Withers says, I take my babies for a drive to work for a couple of days. I leave them in the back of the van with a drinker for them to get used to the movement and for them not to stress out. We think that's an excellent idea.
And we're saying it. Chris is a racing pigeon guy. Fancy guys, try it. Try it. Do it to your fancy birds. Get them used to it.
Now, if you are going to leave them in the vehicle, make sure it's not 100 degrees outside and you leave the windows rolled up, or don't put them in the trunk of your car, which, Chris, I'm sure you do that already, but for some people who might not know, please don't leave them in the vehicle without having the windows cracked. Don't put them in the vehicle if it's 100 degrees out. And please don't put them in the trunk.
And remember, if you're going to leave them in the car all day, you think to yourself, you put yourself in that car all day. Use your common sense.
That's right. Ian Sibbald said, I've been doing a lot of reading. Ad Sherlackens believes we can build up immunity to trick and hero with a regime of fresh garlic, apple cider vinegar at least 3 days a week. And he said, we're ruining the immune system with so many drugs. And Richard, you'd agree because you like the apple cider vinegar, and you also do some kind of garlic with lemon concoction, right?
That's right.
And you know what, guys, if you're reading what Ian's saying or hearing what he's saying and what Richard's saying, they don't say give it to them 1 day a week or once a month. Keep it going like it's a routine every day. So it gets into the system, into the whole bird. It's like people that eat curry. You eat enough curry, your pores, they have a smell of what? Curry. So you got to give it to those birds.
I get so that if my jug of apple cider vinegar is getting low, I start to get worried. Oh no, I better get to that store and get another jug, because I want to keep it in their system.
Keep it in the system. Crozier's on the line.
Dave Crozier says, last year was the first year that I never brought in outside birds, and it was the first year that he never had a sick young bird.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
There you go.
There you go. And then this year you might not bring in a bird and you get hits. The pigeon racing game is a tough game because birds are moving around. They're on the trailer. You're trading birds with guys. You're buying birds at auctions. A lot of things. A lot of what we call a lot of moving parts.
And Guido says in his instance, he has traveled all over the place with his birds. They are very well road traveled, and that's great. That's probably why in your loft, they're you don't have these issues. I know that you
But
do
let,
vaccinate and you do treat for these things, and that's fantastic. Good. Yeah.
let me ask a question. Guido has been very successful
Mm-hmm.
in showing birds, and there you go.
And in racing, he's done
One of the
yeah.
reasons
Right.
why he's been
He's not a strict show guy. He does both. I think the racing pigeon guys have a little advantage over the show guys because the birds, we work the birds, you move the birds. I think show guys are very, they don't have to do the same things. So the birds are different.
And Chris Withers says that yes, everything is open, and he wouldn't do it if it's too hot. But he said, well, that's if the UK ever get hot. Yeah. So no, the reason we've seen all kinds of things, Ryan. You've seen all kinds of things in your days, and you've seen the people who put the birds in the trunk of the car in a 90-degree day. So
Yeah.
we've seen it all. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, I've seen stuff that make your head just completely shake.
Yeah, well, I'll tell a little story. A couple of years ago, we imported some birds from the US for a breeder who had fancy birds. And I'm not sure if it was a language issue or just an understanding issue, but we had told him, if you're going to ship the birds to us at our US post, make sure, put them on paper, like shredded paper or pine needles. We'll tell people, like, don't put them in the shavings because it's respiratory. Well, Ryan, what happened when you went to go pick the birds up? What did the fellow do?
Oh, you put me on the spot, Lee. I can't even remember it.
Okay,
I know
I'll
I
tell
was.
you. He
You know.
he packaged the birds in a nice little carrier, but he wrapped them
Oh
in
yeah.
Oh yeah.
he wrapped them in newspaper.
In newspapers. Each bird,
Was individually wrapped.
listen to this, folks.
Like
He
you're
wrapped
Do we
like
have a
you're
picture?
like you're wrapping China, like if you're
No.
moving and you're wrapping up
It
China.
was,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
like Subway sandwiches.
Yeah, that was right.
He wrapped them in paper.
Yeah.
And he
He
laid
stacked
them.
them.
He
stacked
stacked them.
Yeah, and the birds on the
then-
bottom
and
were
then-
dead.
And then stacked them on top, and with
Not
their
funny.
heads just sticking out.
And the bottom birds,
Oh,
the
that
bottom
was-
birds got
I remember-
crushed. I remember that. I had never seen that before, and I guess the guy misunderstood. There was, I guess, a language barrier.
Misunderstood. Come on, man.
Well, he didn't have
You didn't
he
tell
didn't
me
have
that.
any common sense. I know that, but I'm gonna give him a.
I remember that.
Anyway,
That was-
so
Thanks for
This-
reminding
this-
me, Lee. You see
yeah.
the stuff we've seen?
yeah,
Wow.
and this is why I kind of sometimes overstate the point, just because I never want anybody to misunderstand what it is that we're saying and then do something and it go horribly wrong. So I thought I'd share that story. Anyway,
Good
that's my
story to
time.
remember, Lee.
He had way too many birds in that basket.
We had them stacked like they were beer cans, and the
Yeah.
birds on the bottom died because
The pressure.
the pressure.
And
it didn't matter that their heads could stick out; they flattened them.
roll them in newspaper.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was
Anyway,
sad.
it was like something I've never seen before. Anyway, okay. Do you want to talk? We've been on an hour, so I don't know if you want to wrap this up. Just talking a little bit about the band race, how many we've sold, and just how that's
Okay.
going.
There's 700 sold. I got a great call today from Dorian from the Montreal area. The Montreal area is going to be purchasing 200 rings. Wow. That's a thumbs up. I've already done the figures here. Where we are, we're in Toronto. We're in the hub. We're in the center of pigeon racing in Canada, I would say. Most pigeon flyers are here. We've got Up North Combine, the Niagara Road. We got the EOC and the Oshawa. A very few guys from each of those have bought in bands and supported this. If each guy buys 10 rings, this race will be sold out and I'll have to go order more rings. Do you want to race pigeons? I don't care if you people don't like me. I don't care if you hate me. All I'm here for is what? Race pigeons. Hate me? Race pigeons. No one's doing anything to race pigeons, but the Pioneer Club is. And on Friday, we got a big announcement to make. I'm not going to say it now. Big things happening. Big support from another club. I like this. Going now in the right direction. Let's start thinking outside of the box. Put your grudges away. Let your pigeons do the talking and come and fly some pigeons. 4 races. You get 4 races for $15 a band. You get prize money in each race, first, second, and third. Champion loft, first, second, and third, or average speed, first, second, and third. Champion bird, first, second, and third. 4 races, not one and done. No, 4 shots to do it. 4 300-mile races. You know, the sad part is, I've got people that are short, that aren't in the boundaries. They want to buy and fly themselves, and I'm going like this. No, we have to make boundaries for all the guys here. I'm almost ready to pull the plug on the boundaries and say, Fuckit, let's race pigeons. Everyone start racing. Let's pull our thumbs out of our mouth and stop whining. And if you're in the area, become a handler. Let's help it out. Leah, give them the rundown there on the Windy City. What did you see on the handlers list there? How many was it?
No, well, exactly. The Windy City, they do a band race every year, and I looked at the handler list, and I swear to God, there's got to be 100 handlers on that list. You know, Greater Toronto Area. What the heck is wrong with you people? We got 3 handlers so far that have volunteered.
Oh,
that
by
have
the
told
way,
us, that have told us that they're become handlers and allow us to announce their name. One is Richard, right there. One is Troy Spencer, and another one is Mike Van Kempen.
right. And by the way, I spoke with Troy. Troy is now going to take 15 outside birds. He's going to take someone. If someone has 15 birds, Troy will fly them. Richard, you may not. Richard, I think you're going to have to go out there and separate all of our breeders tomorrow. Just separate them all. Right. Because the Twisted Sister in your loft, I think you're going to go to about 250 birds you're going to handle. Because we don't have people that want to work and grow the sport. What do we have? Complainers, whiners, bitchers, and people can figure out, if this doesn't work, we're going to screw them. It's going to work. If I have to build a 100-foot loft to do it, we're going to make it work. Because we don't stop, do we? Inch by inch, brick by brick, mile by mile. This is the largest open race now in our area. And I have to thank the people that are inside that have helped so far. And I got to thank all the outsiders from around Canada that are starting to send birds. Buy those bands. That's what I like to see.
So explain it to people.
Well, before
some people might say, well, what is a handler?
Okay, Bill Vulgaris, he wants to know the distances flown for the races. For the 4 races, what are the distances again? Are they on the flyer? Because I can read them. I can't remember.
For us, Englehart to our place from Englehart is 275 miles. Matheson is about 310 or 315 miles to us, and Mont Laurier is just under 300 miles to us. Some guys are going to be flying 300 kilometers. Some guys are going to be flying 500 or 600 kilometers. It all depends. If you put the map on where from those stations, you can see where you are.
Don't you have a limit, right?
We have a limit. I believe it's 350.
350.
And you know what? I'm almost getting to the point. We put it on paper, so you can't go against your word. Because heaven forbid you ever change the rules, which we don't want to do that now. But I got people out in Montreal. I'm going to tell you this right now. If I open the boundaries up for Montreal, we're going to sell 600 bands to Montreal. You know what? I want to fly with those people, eh? I want to fly with people that want to fly pigeons instead of figuring out how we're going to stop everything.
So how does the handler thing work?
I
know how it works, but I'm just going to ask you that question because someone might think, what does that mean to be a handler? I got to buy these bands off the people, or how does this work?
You're a handler.
Right.
You're going to take birds that people send to you to handle. You're going to fly the race with those people's birds in this 4-race series, and you're splitting the prize money 50-50. So the bird wins, that loft wins overall average speed. You're going to win the average speed. For the loft, you split it 50-50. But we're looking for handlers. We're looking for more participants. There's no reason why here This 2200, this can be done no problem. But it's going to take you guys to do it. You know, great thing. Ian Sybil. He's living down in Fort Erie, right down in the bottom, eh? He bought himself a whack of bands. You know what he said to me, Ryan? I'd love to handle, but I don't think guys want me to take their birds to fly them this distance. But he would take 100 birds, just like that. And I said, no, I don't think there's guys here that won't do it. We give Ian birds, won't we? Because you know why? Let's see how they do on the extreme long end. Let's go and see. Do I think he can win it? I think he's going to do a hell of a damn good job. And he might win it because he knows how to handle. That's what we're looking for.
It's funny, we've got the fellows out in Thunder Bay who are creating an entire event around this and are really taking it and have really expanded their mind and thought outside the box and figured out a way to make this band race work for them. They're in Thunder Bay, folks. If they can figure this out, I don't understand what the problem is here.
Well, Montreal's figuring it out, and this is what we're saying. On Friday, there's some big news coming. We're working a few little kinks out to expand this race a little bit more, but keeping it in the rules. But you have to wait for Friday for that. We should have, I would say by Friday, there'll be just over 900 bands now sold. We have to do the mailing out.
Which we want to thank everybody for their support. All 900 bands that have been sold, we want to thank you. We don't want to just turn this into like a negative. This is fantastic. We've already sold 900 bands. That is amazing. We're really happy with the support, and we're hoping to sell it out. We think it'll be a great thing, a fun thing, and something that we're able to do every year and expand on it for next year.
Right. Next year's 10,000 bands. Why? Can it be done? You're damn right it can be done. But we all have to work together, and we have to look past some things and let the pigeons do the talking.
See,
but at least one thing.
Chris Withers, who is an outside, he's not an outsider because he's part of the Pioneer family now, but outsider meaning he doesn't live in Canada, he lives in the UK. And he watches this. Here we are, we're in Toronto, Canada. Canada is kind of like a little bit of a third world country when it comes to pigeons. There's not a whole lot of people here that do it. And he's looking at us and saying he'd love to do that where he is in the UK. He'd love if somebody would put on something like this band race. So, you know what, guys? Let's put out all our differences aside. We all have one main goal here, I would hope, and that is to continue the sport in this country, to watch it grow, to watch it thrive. There are so many new people who are interested in the sport. Instead of putting up barriers to stop people, why don't we just work together and try and grow it?
Yeah, it's here. I don't know. This is like sports teams. Each flyer is your own sports team. You're not supposed to like everybody that you play against in different sports. You can look at the guy and say, I hate him. You play the game over and done. Hey, you don't have to go to bed with the guy. How nice game, good game. It's over. It's pigeon flying, guys. Keep it the same way. Build.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to have to get back to like raising our hand, but you can't see me. But Dan Gregorov wants to know, what about one more race from Cochrane?
One more race from, well, Dan, if you want us to go to, well, again, with the Thunder Bay boys, they're flying on an opposite course. I did want to talk to Dan. I had an idea for him to make it a little more fair for him. We're going to be picking up the birds, I believe, for the Thunder Bay boys. They're going to have to put their birds on a plane. We're going to go down to Toronto Pearson to pick them up. Look at the extremes they're going to. They're putting their birds on a plane to get them to us, to compete. This is how pigeon sport grows. I believe that this pigeon sport, it's not dying because of the pigeons. It's not dying because of where you can keep the pigeons, I don't believe. It's dying because the pigeon men in the sport are all jealous of each other, every one of them. Oh, he bought a Leo Hermans. He's an asshole. Oh, he just built a new loft. He's an asshole. Oh, this, oh, that. No. He can train every day. Oh, I can't. I got 4 kids. I can't do that. It's all jealousy. Put that aside and race the pigeons to the best of your ability. That's it. Jealousy is the worst.
And you know what? How about have some fun?
Yeah, fun.
I get it's a serious hobby. I get it's a competitive hobby. I get people spend a lot of money in the hobby. I get it. But you know what? If you're not having fun, and I've seen quite a few miserable pigeon men, and I'm going to say it, miserable pigeon men in the last 3 years, just miserable. And I look at them and I'm just like, why are you even doing this? I don't understand. There's got to be something that makes you happy. Clearly, pigeon racing is not it. If you're
Right.
not having fun, I don't know why you're bothering.
And the Pioneer Band Race and the Pioneer One Loft, we're creating this to become the People's Combine, where we can race pigeons, get them out there and do it properly and enjoy it. Give you what you want. Give you the liberation videos. Give you the feeding videos of the birds on the truck. Taking them up on the proper days and not playing favorites to weather and wind. Forget all that. We want to make pigeon racing great again, but you're never going to get rid of all the politics. You just can't.
No,
It's
and I,
impossible.
I get that. I get that. You're going to have politics and issues and everything. I just think it's time to look past it a little bit with and let's just try and promote the sport and grow and make
Yeah.
something great.
Yeah.
It's
Why can't
fantastic
it?
that there's fanciers in the UK that are looking at Canada as an example of what is a good idea to do in the sport of pigeon racing. That makes me feel proud, right?
Yeah, sure. We're somewhere on the right road, and please, people, don't knock people that race 200 birds a week, 300 birds. We go to Poland there. Poland, the pigeon sport's growing. It's like weeds. I never seen such happy people in Poznan there. At the Olympiad, there were 46,000 pigeon men. They were half in the bag drinking. How many fights did you see, Ricky? Not one. Go to a pigeon club here, put down one bottle of rye, and in about 25 minutes, 6 guys, they'll be fighting. They can't handle it. Can't handle it. Why? I don't know why. I think we haven't learned.
I'm going to also chime in here. Alfred from the Netherlands says, the faster you fly, the fewer friends. The fans who give away the most at the bar often fly badly and have a lot of friends. You're right, Alfred.
That's right.
People hate to
You're,
see other people succeed. That's what I've found
what's that
in
saying,
life,
Leah?
not just in the pigeon world. And I'm not saying it's all terrible in the pigeon world, because it's not. There's a lot of fantastic people. But I've seen them throughout life, the more successful you are, the more people try to tear you down, rip you down.
Yeah. And you know the word again. We talked about champions. Champions figure out a way to succeed, put that all behind them, and keep going. And that's why this band race will sell out. And if it doesn't sell out this year, she'll sell out next year. I promise you. We will not stop. We're going to sell it out. We're going to push until the end. Now, you people that are watching that don't make any comments, you're on the fence, or maybe you just don't like us. Give it a try. Let us show you what we can do. You look at our auction season. Look at our one-off race. Look at these shows we put on. We're giving 150%, and we're going to make mistakes because you know what? We're only human, but we're going to give you our very, very best.
Chris says that he agrees with you, Ryan. There's a few of the clubs around where he is in the UK with only 4 to 5 members, but they won't join up together and form one club, because if there is 3 clubs, then there's 3 wins, but they are flying in the same federation. It's just small minds, right?
Yeah.
Same problem
Well, hey,
that we have here.
you know, and we say it again. I'm going to talk to a guy here who's on the show. He's always on our show, Dave Crozier Mania. He lives out from us about an hour and 10 minutes. I love that man to fly in the Pioneer Club every week. He's got the right attitude that I like. Sad thing, he went and applied at another club. One of the executives of the other combines, they poo-pooed him. They wouldn't let him in. Wouldn't let him in to come and fly. You know what, Dave? You're welcome to fly here in our club. No charge for this year.
Apparently,
Yeah.
they didn't even have a club
They
meeting.
didn't even have a club meeting for the man. You know what, Dave? You've been supporting us for the last few years. You're always a good guy when you come down. We're going to offer you a free Pioneer to fly this year with us at the Pioneer Club. We want to keep this sport growing. And remember, every time you say no and you kick somebody out, you're giving them the option to say, you know what, I'm going to take my birds, get rid of them, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the curling rink, and I'm going to start curling or lawn bowling. We don't want to do that. You know what, Leah? This summer, I'm going to be down at the lawn bowling. I'm going to be trying to take lawn bowlers away from the lawn bowling leagues.
Get them into pigeon racing. You
Get
never
them into
know.
pigeon racing.
Uh,
We got to do something.
Henry has a question. He said, sorry, I am new to this. What is the boundary? And then he says, if it is a stupid question, no worries. There are absolutely no stupid questions at all, Henry. What are the boundaries, Ryan?
Well, the boundaries are from each of the stations. You just have to be longer than 350 kilometers. So if you take where your house is and you make the straight line, not the car road, you take the straight line, and you are over the 350 kilometers, which you are, Henry. I know where you are. You're fine. Another big shout out, Neil Gonzalez. He's on our show. He wants to fly these 4 races from where he is. The first race is Englehart. It's about 200 miles for him, so he's too short. Matheson is 250. He's too short. And Mount Laurier is 125. He is too short. We're going to see if we can get him a clock so he can fly the races. He wants to bring them down and ship the 4 races, and we just want to see how he does. A guy that is completely short, because right now, my feeling is I've made these measurements for mostly the people in this area that fall into it. The guys from the Borden Club, they fit in. The Toronto guys fit in. The Hamilton guys fit in. The Humber Valley guys fit in. The Aurelia guys fit in. The Oshawa guys fit in. The EOC guys fit in. Come on, let's get some support here. Wake up. It's okay.
But you know what? I've seen fellas that fly.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if we're flying Burke's Falls, from here to Burke's Falls is about 113 air miles.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be guys. This combine.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that live in Aurelia.
Mm-hmm.
I think they probably only fly maybe 50 miles.
Well, you want to
right. Well, meanwhile, guys flying in Toronto.
Right.
Right. Around the same trailer.
Right.
The guys flying in Aurelia.
Right.
They get a speed average. They get loft points. And they're still flying. They're flying against guys that fly 2 or 3 times further.
Right.
So if that works for them,
but what it is again, I'm going to say it. When we originally talked about it, we candy-assed it. We got to make it. Oh, that's too short. Oh, they're not going to come in because that's too short. Oh, they're not going to come in because that's not right. You want to know what? I'm getting so sick and tired of the bullshit. I want to see Pigeon flying.
Yeah, but the thing is too.
But you can't see that. Because exactly what you say.
If a guy's flying 500 kilometers.
Right.
And a guy's flying 150 kilometers.
Right.
There's a big difference.
There is one hell of a big difference. But you want to know what? The guy that's flying 150 kilometers or 100 miles, and the guy that's flying 350 miles, if none of those 350 miles come to participate, well, what the hell are we doing? They don't want to participate. So I'm ruining this guy that wants to participate to these guys here that I hope that we set it up so to come to participate, they don't come to participate. So I'm almost getting ready to just say, next year we're going to have no boundaries. That's it. I want to see people that want to fly pigeons. I don't want to see people that want to just constantly make excuses. Excuses.
I think boundaries. I know what you're saying.
Boundaries are great.
Okay,
boundaries are great.
says that he has 4 pigeon bands with the Pioneer. Way to go, Troy. Neil is asking, what's Ricky's strategy for training the birds? Because each week they're racing from different directions.
Well, it's not real.
Thought
it's
about
not really
that yet, Loft Manager Richard? What your strategy is going to be?
We're not going
to be a strategy 100%.
We can't tell you the strategy yet, Neil.
We're going to war.
We're going to war, and remember, when he goes to war, even though I'm his son, he still wants to kick the shit out of me. And by the way, don't stand on the tracks when I come through to town. No, we're going to get into the strategy.
There's going to be a strategy. There has to be.
We're going to get into the strategies once we get closer to it. Richard is coming up with a game plan. Chris says, our region, the RPRA, has made a rule that you cannot refuse anyone. It has to be a really big reason not to accept them. Well,
I'm going there.
we won't get into that right now, Chris, but
No.
yes, that is excellent. That's a yeah, you shouldn't be refusing. I mean, shame on whoever that club was. I don't know which club that was who did that, that wouldn't accept Dave, but shame on them. That's all I'm going to
Well,
say.
we won't say nothing about the Skoogog boys, but it is what it is. And you know what? We're going to try and get another pigeon flyer. Crozier, you're invited.
Guido says, please send me 10 bands. We'll e-transfer you the funds. Excellent, Guido. Happy to do that.
Fly them, Guido. Fly them. You can fly them from where you are. You're going to get them good. We got a big announcement on Friday where you're definitely going to want to fly those 10 yourself. Trust me. Keep them. Fly them.
Yes, so
Go
on
ahead, Rick.
Friday, we have a big announcement with regards to the Pioneer Elite Band Race, so stay tuned for that. We'll be live again for this Pigeon Chat on Friday evening. Go ahead,
And we
Ryan.
will have a special guest on.
Oh, yes, we'll have a special guest to announce the big announcement. So stay tuned on Friday for that. That'll be exciting. So we're going to wrap up this show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Great conversation, great contributions from everybody. We really appreciate it. I think it's great. The show is becoming really good, and hopefully we're all learning from each other. And excellent, good job. And if you haven't had enough of Ryan and Richard, at 8 o'clock, head over to our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auction page, because we are rebroadcasting the Fugare 2020 Fugare tour that Ryan did. Ryan and Richard were there last year, today actually, 1 year ago today. Ryan and Richard were over in Belgium at the Fugare show. And we just thought, since we couldn't make it this year because of the virus, there was no show. It was canceled. I thought, hey, why not show it on our Facebook page? So head on over at 8 o'clock to our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions Facebook page, where we are showing the Fugare 2020 tour with Ryan and Richard.
Yeah, that was a great trip. I can't wait to get back there. We'll be there next year. Enjoy that, guys. And go over to our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auction site right now. 2 fantastic auctions going on. Anders Brobeck. If you guys want the Jansen de Clacks, the Jan Arnhem blood, this man has held nothing back. He's pumped 9 tons. National winner of Denmark. The best from Denmark has finally landed here at Feathers Elite. And let's not forget our man from Belgium, Eddie Grugens. You know how those Grugen pigeons do in one-off races and futurity races. They collect up all the money. That's it.
And tomorrow we will be live with Eddie on our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions Facebook page. We don't know what time yet. We know what time we're going live with Eddie Grugens?
I'd have to check. It'll be in the Canadian afternoon time. I don't have it right now with me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we will be live with Eddie Grugens tomorrow at some point on our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auction page. Oh, and also on our Feathers Elite Pigeon Auction page on Saturday nights when we do our virtual lot viewings. We're now introducing pigeon trivia into the mix, where we are doing a trivia along with the lot viewings, and you guys are going to get to win some prizes. So tune in for that on Saturday at 6 o'clock. There we go.
That's some big prizes.
Very good.
Very good. You know what? We're going to constantly ride the bar. Leah's canaries chirping there in the background. It must be the show's over. Relic, you did great tonight. You looked fantastic. Watch out.
I always try and look good.
You do that. Well, that's where I get my looks from. Leah, good broadcasting today. Everyone, great questions all the way from the UK up to the Thunder Bay, all over. That's great. The family's building, like we say, inch by inch, brick by brick, mile by mile.
And I want to also give a shout out to our YouTube friends, because there's a lot of people that watch us over on YouTube, the rebroadcast that I upload there, and I just want to give them a hey and thank you guys very much for subscribing to our channel on YouTube. We are over 1,000 subscribers, so awesome.
Watch out for those viruses, guys. We're 98 cents richer today. How much knowledge have we all learned? We've talked about it. It's okay. Let someone know when your birds aren't doing the best. Maybe you get some help. We're all friends. We're all family. We're all in this together. Thanks for flying with us, guys. We will see you Friday on the show. Bye for now.
Have a good one.